Earl, you ever hear about that company called Dominant 3D?
Can't say I have, Jim. What's so special about them?
Well, reckon you'd find it mighty interesting. They're using them fancy 3D printers to build houses now.
Houses? You mean like them little plastic toys?
No, sir, I'm talking full-size homes folks can live in. They've got this big old machine they call the Replicator.
Well, I'll be darned. The Replicator, huh? Sounds like something out of one of them sci-fi movies my nephew's always watching.
Ain't that the truth? But it's real, and they're using it to solve some big problems. You know how folks are struggling to find affordable housing these days.
Sure do. Prices keep going up and people can't keep up.
Exactly. Dominant 3D's aim is to make building homes faster and cheaper. They say by 2031, the market for 3D printed houses could be worth over $500 billion.
$500 billion with a T? That's more zeros than I can count.
You're telling me? They're fixing to change the whole construction industry.
So how's this 3D printing any better than good old-fashioned hammer and nails?
Well, for starters, traditional building creates a whole mess of waste. Wood scraps, leftover materials, you name it. But with 3D printing, they use just the amount they need. Cuts down on waste, something fierce.
That sounds right smart. Less trash to haul off means less messing up the land.
You got it. And get this. They're using recycled stuff in their concrete mix. Gives old materials a new purpose.
Now that's something I can get behind. We got too much junk piling up as it is.
Exactly. And what's really setting them apart is they're not just printing the outside of the house, but the insides too.
How you mean?
Well, they're able to print interior walls, built-in shelves, decorative pieces, all part of the structure.
So you could have your bookshelves and such printed right into the walls.
That's right. Makes the whole place unique, customized to your liking.
Now that's nifty. But what about the folks working in construction? Ain't this gonna take jobs away from them?
Or programming the printers. Doing maintenance. Instead of swinging hammers, workers might be operating the machines. But from what I gather, it's more about shifting the type of work. That's a fair concern.
So the work ain't going away, just changing forms. And there's a need for folks who understand the technology and can keep things running smooth.
You got it.
Well, that's a relief. Always good when progress doesn't leave folks behind.
Absolutely. Now, safety's another thing folks worry about. There was that time when a 3D printed house had to be torn down because it wasn't up to snuff.
I remember hearing about that. Can't have houses falling apart.
Dominant 3D learned from those early mistakes. They've put a lot of work into perfecting their concrete mix and making sure everything is solid as a rock.
That's good to hear. Safety first, as my old man used to say.
Mine too. And they're mindful of the environmental impact. Regular concrete producing a lot of CO2, but by using recycled materials and reducing waste, they're lowering that footprint.
That's important. Gotta take care of the only earth we've got.
Couldn't agree more. And the best part is, these homes are more affordable. By cutting down on time and labor, they're lowering the costs.
So regular folks might actually be able to afford a new home?
That's the idea. And they can build in places where it's tough to use traditional methods, remote areas, places hit by natural disasters.
Imagine how helpful that'd be after a hurricane or a flood, getting people back in homes quicker.
Exactly. They're already looking into partnerships for disaster relief efforts.
Well, ain't that something? But with all this newfangled technology, are there any downsides?
Well, as with any big change, there are things to watch out for. Data security's one, making sure the digital blueprints and controls are protected. And there's the need to ensure the technology doesn't widen the gap between those who have access and those who don't.
Important to keep things fair and square.
Right you are. Dominant 3D seems committed to doing things responsibly. They want to make a positive impact, not just turn a profit.
That's good business in my book, so what's next for them?
They're planning to scale up, not just building single homes, but entire communities, even apartment buildings.
Whole neighborhoods built with 3D printers? That's hard to imagine.
It sure is, but it's coming. They're working on larger projects and collaborating with city planners and developers.
Well, I'll be. The future's arriving faster than I thought.
Tell me about it. Makes you wonder what things will look like in another decade or so.
Maybe we'll have 3D printed barns and silos next.
Could be. Would make building out here a lot easier.
But I hope they keep in mind the importance of community. Technology's great, but it's the people that make a place special.
Absolutely, Earl. Tools are only as good as the folks using them. Dominant 3D seems to understand that.
You know, Jim, this has got me thinking, maybe there's opportunities for folks like us in all this.
How do you mean?
Well, with our know-how in building and fixing things, maybe we could learn to operate those machines. Be part of the new wave.
Now there's an idea. Could be worth looking into. They probably need people who understand both the old ways and the new.
Exactly, blending tradition with innovation.
I like the sound of that. Maybe we should give them a call, see if they're hiring.
Couldn't hurt. At the very least, we could learn more about what they're doing.
Agreed. Always good to keep learning.
Well, Jim, thanks for sharing all that. You always bring the most interesting topics to our chats.
Happy to, Earl. World's changing fast, but it's nice to sit here, sip our tea, and ponder it all.
Ain't that the truth? Here's to the future, whatever it may hold. You think we could fix this old thing up?
Might take some doing, but we've tackled tougher projects.
You know, this reminds me of that dominant 3D stuff we were talking about.
How so?
Well, here we are working with our hands, fixing up something old. Maybe there's a way to blend this with that new technology.
Maybe we could 3D print some of these parts that are hard to find.
Now you're thinking, could save us time and money.
We'd have to learn how to design the parts on a computer.
I've got that old laptop my nephew gave me. Maybe we can figure it out.
Worth a shot. Could open up a whole new world for us.
Imagine that, us, a couple of country boys using high-tech gadgets.
Hey now, ain't no reason we can't learn. We've been fixing things our whole lives.
You're right, tools might change, but problem solving stays the same.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll find a way to help others around here with it.
Could be a real benefit to the community.
Maybe even start a little business. Country Tech Solutions or something like that.
I like the sound of that. We fix things the new-fashioned way.
Ha! Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let's see if we can get this tractor running.
Deal, pass me that wrench, would you?
Well, would you look at that? She's purring like a kitten.
We still got it, my friend.
Sure do. You know, if we can do this, learning that 3D printing stuff ought to be manageable.
Agreed, let's make a plan to look into it.
Sounds good. Maybe tomorrow we can head into town, see if the library's got any books on the subject.
Or maybe that internet can help us out.
True enough. My granddaughter showed me how to look things up last time she was over.
Then we're set. The future's knocking and I say we open the door.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Can't believe we made this ourselves.
It's something, ain't it? Fits perfectly, too.
Imagine what else we could do with this technology.
The possibilities are endless. Maybe one day we'll be building houses like Dominant 3D.
One step at a time, Jim, but who knows? Maybe we'll be part of bringing new opportunities to our neck of the woods.
I'd like that. Always said the best way to predict the future is to create it.
You and your sayings.
Can't help it, but seriously, it's an exciting time to be alive.
Sure is. And I'm glad we're taking this journey together.
Me too, Earl. Me too.